Compass Publishing.
Hi everybody out there all around the world. My name is John Edwards, and on behalf of Compass Publishing, I'd like to welcome you to our first ever Digital Compass Day event. We're going to have 2 days of presentations, and this is the first one. And I'm very happy that you could join us, and I hope you enjoy the content and you learn something. If you have any questions during the presentation, you can always leave them in the comments section. And I've got a team of people here to help me and will answer your questions. And also, if you have any extra comments about what we're talking about, you can always leave them in the comment section as well. So anyway, if you're ready to begin, we'll start. So today my topic is about teaching young learners. And I wanted to go through the characteristics of elementary learners and talk about the four-strand theory, Paul Nation's four-strand theory. And then I wanted to go through some products that we offer for this kind of student, for young learners. Hangout, which is a coursebook series. I'll go through that, the features of that, and then I'll introduce you to some of our new digital products that we've been working on. One is ClassBox, which is our e-learning platform, and then also BigBox, which is our learning app. And I'll give you a live demo of both of those, so fingers crossed that everything works well. Anyway, let's begin. So I wanted to start by talking about the characteristics of young learners. I'm sure some of you are teachers or you have been teachers in the past, and maybe some of you have specialized in young learners or you've had experience teaching them. And I want you to think about what are the characteristics of young learners that kind of differentiates them from other types of learners. We can kind of group them into two different categories by the lower grades and the upper grades. I think they're quite different as learners. The learners sort of go through a change around grade 3 or 4 in the way that they learn, in their kind of their identity and how they relate to the teacher and to learning in general. So if we talk about the younger learners, the younger grades from kindergarten, grade 1, 2, 3, they have a very limited awareness about themselves and about the learning process and about what school is all about. They're still learning how they learn and how school works and the rules and all those things. So that's one of the features of those learners. They also have a very limited knowledge of the real world. So they don't know about animals, different kinds of animals, or about geography or these kinds of things. So actually everything is new for them and everything is very interesting. So you can tell them very relatively basic knowledge, but for them it's new and interesting. Also, they really enjoy make-believe and fantasy and imagination. They like to kind of imagine crazy things and monsters and fantasy worlds. And they're not embarrassed. They're not very kind of self-conscious about people watching them. So they're very happy to sing and dance and move around. Actually, a lot of young learners, they work very well when they're active and they're moving around. They're burning off their energy. So this is kind of a characteristic of young learners from kindergarten up to about grade 3, grade 4. But in grade 4, there's some changes that happen. Usually students become more established. They've kind of learned over the first 3, 4 years of school. They've learned how school works and how they should behave in school. They're more sort of settled in the way that they learn and the way that they conduct themselves in class. And they're comfortable with that. And most students, they know that that's the way that learning happens best. So they're more, they conform to the rules better. You have to do less policing as a teacher. Also, there's a kind of they're gaining a growing awareness of other people and of themselves and their own identity, but they're also becoming more sort of self-conscious. They're aware of people watching them and what people think about them. So they're also becoming aware of the world around them. They're learning more about all kinds of subjects. They've done 4 years of schooling, so they're more aware of how the world works and about all kinds of different topics. So there's not a lot that you can tell them that's going to be really new, but maybe you can expand on their knowledge. And also they're more interested in real life issues. As they're growing up, they're kind of noticing what kinds of things adults do, politics, government, laws, society. They're kind of becoming more aware of those things, and they're more interested in learning about them. So actually these two kinds of students are very different, and we have to have a little bit different approach to teaching both of them. I think with younger learners, we have to have many more activities. We have to keep class moving along quickly, like 15, 20 minutes on an activity. That's quite a lot for a grade 1, grade 2 student. But, Renan says hello. Hi, Renan. Fatima says hello. So I was saying, younger learners, we have to keep the class moving along, shorter activities, lots of different types of activities to keep them interested. Also for the older learners, we have to bring in elements of the real world and teach them more about the world around them. But in general, there are 6 kind of strategies that I like to tell teachers or remind teachers about. And these apply to both types of learners, for the lower grades and the upper grades. So the first one is lowered effective filter. That's a very technical word, but basically it just means making students feel relaxed and comfortable in class. If you're relaxed, if you're comfortable, and you kind of convey that to students, or you emanate that to students, then they're going to feel more happy and relaxed. And happy and relaxed students learn better. So things like playing music in class, having a routine that makes them feel welcome and comfortable, these are important for all students in the elementary grades. Also important is engagement. What does engagement mean? It means giving them something that's going to kind of get their attention and get them interested in the content. Also, especially for the upper grades, giving them a clear purpose, making sure they know why they're learning something is very important. About grade 4, grade 5, students start becoming more they question more. And one of the things that you can do as a teacher is explain to them at the beginning of class the learning objectives, the learning aims, and also why they want to learn that, why it's important to them. Another thing we need to keep in mind as teachers is we need to give them the right level of challenge. Sometimes this can be very challenging for us in especially a mixed classroom when there's lots of different skill levels in the classroom. But usually, we want to aim for the middle, and we want to give the students the right level of challenge. If we give them too much, if we give them something that's too challenging for them, outside of their zone of proximal development, then they're just going to feel frustrated. They're just going to lose their motivation to learn. We don't want that to happen. So we want to give them the feeling of success, especially early on in the class. But at the same time, we don't want to under-challenge them. We don't want to give them too little challenge, because then there's no learning. There's just rehashing what they've already learned. We're going over the same material. Another principle that we should keep in mind for teaching this kind of student is spaced repetition. So spaced repetition here means, if they see material, then right away we ask them what they learned. Of course they're going to remember, but very quickly, within 1 day, within 2 days, if it's not refreshed in their mind, then they quickly forget. It doesn't enter their long-term memory. So one thing that's very important for all students, not only for the elementary level, is spaced repetition. That means as a teacher, you should be repeating, especially like vocabulary content or grammar content, repeating it every few days. So one easy way to do that is with sort of pop quizzes or just a little refresher at the beginning of the next class, and then bring back some of the vocabulary they've already learned, bring back some of the grammar points they've already learned. And the last point that I wanted to make is they need a variety of contexts and modes. So what does that mean? If you teach them a grammar structure or a set of vocabulary, they need to see it in different contexts. They need to see it in a passage, in a dialogue, in isolated sentences. They need to see it also in different kinds of modes. For example, they need to read it. They need to listen to it. They need to say it. They need to write it. So the reason for doing that is, first of all, we're making different kinds of connections in the brain, and then we're kind of consolidating that learning. It's also another way to review in a new way. And as we all know, there are different kinds of learners with different strengths, different skills, and by showing them the same material in a lot of different contexts and modes, we are, hi Nicholas, we are maximizing the number of students with different kinds of learning habits, and we're kind of exposing them to the material in the way that they learn the best. So those are just 6 different strategies that you can kind of keep in mind as a teacher. Lowered affective filter, engagement, engage your students, give them a clear purpose at the beginning of class about why they're learning, and give them the right level of challenge, not too easy, not too hard. Spaced repetition, lots of repetition of the material, and give them lots of variety of contexts and modes. For those of you that have been teaching a long time, I'm sure you've had some students where you do all of those things, you do your best, you plan great material, and some students in the class are going to get it. Some of them are going to, respond well to your teaching, and they're going to show progress. They're going to learn, and others are not. So that's why I say there's always this kind of alpha factor. There's always this plus alpha. What does that mean? Well, maybe it means intrinsic motivation. Maybe they are motivated to learn. They like English. They like something about English kind of clicks with them. Or maybe they're very self-disciplined. In the earlier grades, they've learned how to study, and they like to be disciplined, and they like to organize themselves. Or maybe they just have a natural aptitude for languages. I've seen this a lot with students that come to me with already two languages that they can speak well. Learning a third language is easy because they know how it works. So these 3 factors, maybe intrinsic motivation, self-discipline, aptitude, we could say maybe these are outside of your control, but we can only focus on the things that we can control. My father used to say, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So we can focus on our part, on planning good material, on doing our part, and we can just hope that students respond well to that. So sometimes teaching, especially for lower grades, it can seem kind of like you're lost in the woods. It's hard to find your direction. There's a lot of complexity in how to present material in the way that students are responding well to it, keeping them interested, keeping them kind of motivated to learn. So it can feel like you're kind of lost in the woods sometimes. So how? How can we teach? How can we kind of organize all these strategies, all this material? Well, the good news is that if you have good content, if you have a good course book or a good skill book and good supplementary material, that can guide the learning experience. So it takes a lot of the pressure off of you as a teacher. You can just kind of follow the program, follow the course of study, and there's some of those things are already built into the course. For example, when we design course books at Compass, we build in, spaced repetition. We build in different kinds of content, different kind of contexts and modes for seeing the same kind of material, and lots of variety of material. So that's why good content is important. So what makes good content? What makes a good course book or a skill book? Well, one thing to keep in mind for when you're looking at course books, but also for your own teaching, is what we call Paul Nation's four-strand theory. Paul Nation is a famous professor. He's originally from New Zealand, but he taught in Japan for a long time. And I've been very impressed with and influenced by his teaching and some of the books that he's written. So his fourth strand theory, basically, in a nutshell, it's all about balancing instruction so that students can have a well-rounded development of their skills, of their competence. So by balancing our instruction, we can end result is that students will have a balanced or well-rounded language skills. So how do we do that? Well, basically there are four strands that we need to keep in mind, or four strands that we need to look for in a course book series. They are meaning-focused input, meaning-focused output, language-focused learning, and fluency development. And we're going to go through those four very quickly. Excuse me for a minute, my throat is just a little dry. Sorry. So the first one, meaning-focused input. So this is when we are reading or listening to get a message. This is when we're presenting the students with a reading passage or a listening passage, and the purpose of reading it is to get the content. So the main goal is understanding or gaining knowledge or just enjoyment. If they're reading fiction or some nonfiction topic that they're very interested in, then they're reading for enjoyment. So this can be activities like extensive reading, shared reading, listening to podcasts, listening to audio, or watching videos in class. And the conditions for this kind of component of the four-strand theory are that the content should be mostly familiar. We don't want to spend a lot of time at the beginning of the activity explaining the grammar, explaining the vocabulary. That's not the point here. The point is not learning a new structure or learning a new set of vocabulary. It should be interesting content. It should be something that they are interested in learning. That's why extensive reading is one activity, because then they're choosing their own content. We should be able to give them some support, some scaffolding for understanding. That could be a word bank, or that could be a glossary, or it could be a list of vocabulary on the board. And there should be quite a large quantity of input. It's not just a small one-paragraph passage or something like that. It's a little bit lengthier passage. So meaning-focused input, we're giving them some content, and they're reading it or listening it to get the message. For meaning-focused output, the second strand, the goal is communication. So this is when we're speaking or writing to send a message, to convey our ideas. So it could be activities like having a conversation with somebody, or giving a presentation, or telling a story in front of the class, giving instructions to another student about how to do something. If you're talking about writing, it could be maybe SMS chatting, or writing an email, or writing a letter to somebody. And the conditions are, when we're setting up this kind of activity, again, the purpose is not learning a new grammar structure, learning new vocabulary. So mostly the content should be familiar to the students. And also, because the focus is on communication, we don't want to do a lot of error correction. We want to minimize that. As a general guideline, you can think you should only step in as a teacher to do error correction when the communication, the conveying of the message is breaking down. They're not able to convey the message. They're not able to communicate their idea. that's the time to jump in. But just communicating small grammar errors, this is not the time to do that. Another kind of condition is that we want to help students to develop communication strategies and fluency. So communication strategies here means when the communication is breaking down between the two students, between the person who's speaking and the person who's listening, then how do they manage that? Maybe we can teach students some strategies for how to manage breakdowns in communication. And also, we want to give them lots of opportunities to speak and write. This kind of strand in the 4 strands is about lots of output, as much as we can get. So we shouldn't be giving them, reading content, listening content, and having them respond to it in a short way. It should be lots of their own ideas. Okay, so we talked about meaning-focused input, meaning-focused output. The 3rd strand is language-focused learning. So language-focused learning means we're learning features of the language. This is where we're learning phonics, or learning pronunciation, or learning grammar structures or vocabulary, this kind of thing. So when we are doing activities like, we're doing this when we're doing activities like intensive reading or listening, when we're looking at a passage and trying to understand its content and its structure. When we're doing pronunciation practice activities, when we're doing grammar rules, learning grammar rules and doing drills or exercises for that, or when we're learning vocabulary from flashcards. So these kinds of things where we're spending like deliberate attention, we're paying deliberate attention to certain language features, that's what we mean by language-focused learning. But we should keep these features relatively simple and short, because that's more digestible for students. And we should also, when we teach them something in the language-focused learning strand, it should also show up in the other strands of our course. Okay, so we talked about meaning-focused input, meaning-focused output, language-focused learning, where they're learning about the language, the way the language works. The last of the 4 strands is fluency development. So what is fluency? Fluency means some kind of automaticity, as another word for fluency. So that means the language just kind of comes out. If you think about the way you speak your mother tongue, your own language, usually you don't have to pay a lot of attention to the language. The ideas, as soon as you get an idea in your head, it forms itself automatically into the language. So that requires a lot of practice and a lot of speed building with the language, and a lot of familiarity with the structures and vocabulary. So if we don't give students time to work on this in class, they're never going to develop that. I'm sure many of you have seen students who have been studying, 10, 12, 13 years. They know the language very well. They can read it and understand it, but when they communicate their own ideas, when they're speaking or writing, they just can't do it. They don't have the automaticity. They don't have the fluency in the language to be able to express their ideas. So things like speed reading, repeated retelling, where they've read a story or read an article and they're just summarizing or repeating what they've already read. Sometimes giving them short, like 10-minute writing activities, or also listening, for younger students, listening to familiar stories. This can also develop their fluency, their familiarity with the language. So the conditions for this kind of activity are where we have mostly familiar content. We want to make sure there's nothing that's going to kind of interrupt their language, their communication, their understanding. Also, we want to give them some kind of pressure to work fast. One easy way to do this is just give them a time limit. So you can say, I want you to spend 10 minutes and write me a paragraph about this topic. Or I want you to talk with your partner and find out this information, and I'm going to give you 2 minutes. So giving them time pressure forces them to work quickly and to speak quickly, and it kind of gets them into this mode of using the language in a very flexible and dynamic way. We want to give them lots of input and output, and we want to focus on receiving and conveying the meaning. So again, no error, very little error correction for fluency development. Okay, so we talked about these 4 skills, and the key takeaway from this part of the presentation is that the 4 strands should be equally balanced in a well-rounded course. So when we have good balance between meaning-focused input, meaning-focused output, language-focused learning, and fluency development, that's developing the skills of our students in a well-rounded way. One mistake that a lot of teachers make is they spend too much time on language-focused learning and meaning-focused input. This is one of the big mistakes, and that's one of the reasons why students don't develop their output abilities. So any questions about that in the comment section, you can just leave your comments and your questions, and I'll try to answer them. If not, I'll move on to the next part, which is about introducing some of our products. So we talked a little bit about what makes a good, well-rounded course, a well-balanced course. I wanted to talk about Hangout, which is one of our course books for this level of student, for elementary students. So Hangout is a 7-level series. It goes from a starter level, which is pre-A1, all the way up to grade 6 book. So it's all about a family. The kind of the premise of the book is you're following a family, and each book focuses on a different member of the family. So we have 2 books that focus on the youngest daughter, Emma, and then 2 books that are about Brian, and then 2 books that are about Alex. So you're kind of following their lives as they move to the United States, and they get to know their neighbors, and they do different things around their neighborhood. So in terms of CEFR alignment, it goes from pre-A1, where they're learning very, very basic structures and basic vocabulary, colors, names of parts of the face, all the way up to very early B1 level. So they're kind of covering quite a lot of ground in those 6 levels. But as you can see, there's lots of overlap between the levels, so they're reviewing what they did in the previous level. So in terms of the components, there's a student book workbook. There's also a very nice teacher's guide with lots of notes. I'll show you some page samples from that afterwards. Plus we have a student practice app. I'll show you that later. That's called Big Box. And we have an excellent interactive whiteboard for this course book. This is one of the really great features of this course book. And I highly encourage those of you that are using Hangout or that are investigating Hangout to really check out the interactive whiteboard. We also have lots of supplemental materials to make your life easier as a teacher. We have word lists. We have an assessment pack with placement tests, unit tests, midterm and final tests. We also have YLE style tests, so using the same content from our books but in a YLE style test, so students can kind of practice that. We have worksheets for writing, and we have flashcards that you can print out and laminate and use in class. And we have answer keys for all the material. Inside the book, each book has 9 units. It starts with a welcome unit. So what we do is in that unit we introduce basic vocabulary and expressions that they're going to need in other units of the book. And this is very important, especially for the starter level and level 1 and 2, just to kind of bring all of the students up to speed and make sure that they can participate in class. We have 9 units in the book, but there's 3 units and then there's a review unit. And at the end of the book, that's where you're going to find all the song lyrics and chant lyrics and the sticker pages. If you look at each unit, the structure is the same. It follows there's 2 sets of 8 vocabulary, so they're learning 16 words altogether in the unit. And there's 2 structures that are introduced in the unit. Usually those are very closely related. For example, we might introduce the statement, like for example, be-verb statement, and then we might introduce yes-no questions with be-verb in the second part. So they're very closely related structures. Then there's a CLIL reading, and again, that CLIL reading brings back all that vocabulary and brings back those structures, and they're going to see them in the context of the reading. Then we have the phonics and writing section. Phonics is in level 1 and 2, starter 1 and 2, and writing is throughout the whole series. I'll just give you a little walkthrough of one of the units. So this is from level 2 book. And every unit starts with a nice big illustration full of some kind of dynamic scene. So lots of things to talk about in the picture. Students are introduced to the vocabulary, the first set of 8 vocabulary, and then they're given 2 little activities where they're using the picture and using a listening prompt to kind of recycle the vocabulary and see it in a new mode. Then we are introducing the first grammar structure, and the way that we introduce that is with a song. Instead of doing lots of drill practice, which is very tiresome, very boring for the teacher and for the students, we introduce the structure with a song. So they're doing lots of repetition by singing. Then there's throughout the book, there's little extra corners. You can see at the bottom right-hand corner of the page, there's a little extra corner. Those are actually opportunities for students to use the content that they've learned to personalize it, to make it about their own life. Then using the same structure and vocabulary, we go through a listening activity and a reading activity, and then we get them to speak. So we have a communication activity. Usually our communication activities are like this. They do some kind of activity where they're coloring or using stickers, or they're doing some kind of, for the upper levels, they're doing some kind of planning about what they want to say. And then they get with a partner or with a small group, and they use what they've planned out. In the second half of the unit, there's a story. So whoops, sorry, too many clicks. There's the way that we introduce the second structure and the second sort of set of vocabulary is with a comic book style story. So again, they're introduced to it in a kind of unique way. So they read the comic, then they role play the dialogue in the comic, and then they answer some comprehension questions, very simple comprehension questions. And then they do more sort of formal introduction of the vocabulary and the structure, and then they go through a chant. And then we're introduced to the CLIL reading. So in this case, they've learned all about close and about be-verb, and they're going to talk about hats, different kinds of hats around the world. So they're given a CLIL reading where they see the same vocabulary, same structures, and then they have reading comprehension questions. Then they go through this activity, which is what we call a paired skill activity, A paired skill activity, which means they've read the content, they listen to people talking about the content, and then they're going to answer whether that was correct or not. So this is pairing their reading skills and their listening skills. In the CLIL readings, there's also lots of information about different cultures around the world, so they're also developing their kind of global awareness, cultural awareness. Then, as I mentioned before, in Starter, Level 1 and Level 2, there's phonics building. We don't cover all of the phonics sounds, but we cover kind of problem areas. So in this case, it's the N blends. And then we have the writing section. So the writing section in the book, the way that we've organized that, the way that we've designed those activities is we want the students to do the writing, planning for their writing in class. And so you can work with them on it as you can give them some support with vocabulary, with the structures. And then after they've done the planning, then they're going to do a formal, written out draft of their writing at home or for homework as an assignment. And so actually at the back of the workbook, we've provided them with these kinds of pages. So this, in the lower levels, there's space for them to do some drawing. We give them some sentence structures. You can use these as a teacher if your students need that kind of support, if they need a sentence starter or a sentence frame. If not, you can get them to do it on a separate piece of paper. Also in the workbook at the back, we've got, these are all detachable, by the way, so they can keep it as a portfolio page. And on the back side of their writing assignment, there's a checkup, so they can check off what they've learned in the lesson. Just to show you the lesson guide, for beginning teachers, teaching a book like Hangout is very, oh, thank you, Kenya. She says she uses Hangout and it's excellent. Thank you very much. For beginning teachers, teaching can be very overwhelming, the amount of planning that goes into it, and you're learning the content, you're also learning the teaching methods. So we provide a very kind of thorough teacher's guide that you can use. So it starts off with the learning objectives. It starts off with the learning objectives and the core structure and the vocabulary that are going to be covered. And then each activity, there's instructions for how to run the activity. There's the estimated time that it will take. And then there's also teacher talk, and the teacher talk is all highlighted. There's also, if you're using the IWB, there's instructions for how to integrate that into the class as well. And there's all the scripts and all the answer key are built into the teacher's guide. So yeah, very useful, very, very useful resource for beginning teachers. I'll just go through the workbook very quickly. So each 2-page spread of the workbook, of the student book, also has a workbook page that goes with it. So it's building on the same content, the same skills. It gives them a different kind of context though. So it goes through the listening, the writing section, the vocabulary, and the speaking section. For the CLIL reading, there's actually a parallel reading. There's a mirrored reading. It's all new content, but it's kind of parallel. The structure is very similar. So in the student book, we saw it was all about different kinds of hats around the world. And in the workbook, it's all about different kinds of shoes around the world. And then in the lower levels, we also have phonics work in the workbook. And as I mentioned, the writing section at the back of the book. This is just a screen grab from the IWB, the interactive whiteboard. You can see there's activities in the whiteboard that are not in the student book or workbook. So this can really expand on the practice that you can do with your students. And it also gives them kind of more game-like activities. So if you're using Hangout, I highly recommend you figure out some way to use the IWB in the classroom, because it's going to make your class go, you'll see it's like night and day. So if you have any questions about Hangout, or you want more information, or you want to see other sample units, you can just go to our website at compasspub.com/hangout, or you can scan the QR code on your phone right now, and you can be linked to that. I'll just give you a second to scan. Okay, so we'll move on to the next section of our presentation. The next section is all about some new digital content that we've been working on for a while. I think this is very relevant these days because a lot of you are not able to teach in the classroom anymore. You're stuck at home, or you're teaching your students by remote teaching. So this is very relevant, I think, content for right now. A lot of you need content that's going to kind of integrate well with teaching through video conferencing software. So this is our class called ClassBox. It's an e-learning platform, and I wanted to introduce it to you, and then we'll do a live demo. So what is ClassBox? ClassBox is an easy-to-use teaching platform for teachers of English. It's specifically focused at teachers of English. And it's for use in the classroom and also for remote teaching. And there's 4 components. There's a digital books library. There's a set of guided programs. There's an LMS that you can use. And there's a set of professional development seminars. So we'll go through each of those very quickly. So the digital books library has over 100 courses, and they range from kindergarten all the way up through university and adult. Also, you have access to more than 1,000 digital streaming textbooks, all of which can be searched by skill or by CEFR level. And each of those include embedded media, the answer key and annotation tools, so you can use them for presenting the textbook material on a whiteboard in class or on a screen if you're doing remote teaching. There's also access to thousands and thousands of downloadable supplementary resources. So with each of those course books, there's downloadable worksheets and answer keys and word lists that you can download and you can send to your students. So using this platform, you get lots of online content and offline content that you can pair together and use through both the platform and the textbooks. So this is a screen grab from our digital books library. So you can see there's a kind of it's all organized according to the skills that you might be looking for. Sorry. Getting too excited, sorry. It's all organized according to the skills that you might want to teach, also by the CEFR level, also by the school grade, so kindergarten, primary, secondary, or adult. And this is the UI for the digital books. So looking at the page, you can see along the left-hand side, you can go to all the downloads that are available with this book, all the word lists, the worksheets, the answer key. You can also listen to the MP3 files separately. So if you don't want to use it with the reading, you can use it with the listening, just as a listening activity. You can also get separate information about the book if you want to buy it. There's also along the top of the screen, there's all kinds of tools for annotating the book. You can insert notes, you can insert links, you can zoom in and out. You can also mark up the screen with a pen or with highlighter. And you can search through the book as well. So we'll have a better look at that in a minute with the live demo. If you click on that downloads link in the left-hand column, you get a list of all the content that is available with this book. So things like you can download the MP3 files for separate listening. You can download word lists, transcripts, a separate syllabus. So all of it is here centralized for you to download and send to your students. So the second component that I wanted to talk about is the learning management system. So this is where you can manage classes, you can set up classes, you can move students around. You can also assign homework from here, and you can view reports about how your students are doing on their homework, whether they've done it, and also their performance. So this is all integrated with Big Box, our Big Box learning app, which is something else I'm going to show you today. And it's all using class codes. So on the LMS, you're given a class code for each class that you make, and the teachers can share that with the students. And the students can enter their class code in Big Box. There's a special screen for that. And then those two things are linked. Big Box and the LMS are linked. And the teacher can assign homework to the students, and then it appears in the student's app. When the students do it in the app, that data appears in the LMS for the students, for the teacher to track participation and performance. So this is where you would assign homework. So after you've assigned homework, you send it, and right away it's sent to the student's app, and they're going to get a notification like this on their device. And it comes up as a kind of as a quest. So it's not called homework in the app. So it's kind of gamified. Then it's going to, after they've done their homework, you're going to get a report. As a teacher, you're going to get a report about how much time they all spent doing the activities and their performance on the activities. So the guided programs are a set of recommendations from our catalog of content. So we've been operating for 20 years, and we've got lots and lots of content that we've produced. And so we can pair different kinds of content for you to use. So for example, if you're using a course book, we can make recommendations for skill books that could go well with that course book and build different skills. That's all based on CEFR alignment and on the skill, that's the focus skill of each book. And we can recommend programs from all the way from kindergarten all the way to adult, because we've got all that content in our catalog. So if you click on a particular grade or grade level in the program section, then it's going to recommend a main course and also the supplementary skill books that can go with that. The last of the sections for our class box is the seminars section, which is a professional development content library for professional development and teacher training. We are going to announce live events through that portal. So every month there's going to be 2 events at least, and that's where it's going to be announced, also on SMS as well. And all of those are, after they're recorded, they're going to be stored on the seminar library. So you can watch them if you missed them, or if you want to review, you can go there to see the content. And it's all searchable by the title. So using ClassBox, you can stream our content, and you can easily use it for teaching your lessons remotely. It's very easy to use and very easy to learn, and it's an effective way to kind of pair with your whatever teaching methods you're using for online, like your video conferencing software. You can use this through screen sharing. You can use it on any platform. And it's also useful when we eventually return to normal. You can also use it in your classroom to present the material as an interactive whiteboard. And there's a special offer today. So if you registered for this seminar, if you're watching this seminar, you can get a 1-month free trial of ClassBox to explore it and try it out with your students. You're going to get an email later. If you pre-registered for the seminar, you're going to get an email about that. Let's do the live demo, and if you're interested in more information about ClassBox, you can go to our the special site that we made for ClassBox. So it's classboxenglish.com, or again, you can scan the QR code and you'll be linked there directly. Okay, I'm going to change my screen and show you the live demo. How's everybody doing today? I see lots of famous people from around the world, lots of people that I've met before. Hi, Nicholas. Hi, James. Okay, let's do the live demo of ClassBox, and I'll show you around our new e-learning platform. So this is the screen that you're going to see when you go to the digital books library. So you can see you can search through different skills. You can also search by grade or CEFR level. And if you click on a book, or you can also favorite different books, and they'll always show up in your bookmark favorites bookmarked content. So this is the UI for the books. You can see you can use a highlighting tool. So you can highlight specific vocabulary that you want to pre-teach in the passages. You can also leave little notes for yourself to remember. Oops. So for example, if I want to and then that's, once you save that, it's going to be permanently there in the book. So every time you go back to it, you'll be able to see those notes. So maybe things like definitions for words that are not focus vocabulary, you can leave those in the sideline. Also, you can also leave links. So if you wanted to link in a video, or you wanted to link in a Wikipedia page or something like that to get more information about the topic, you could use this tool to leave a link in right in the book, and then it'll always be there. Also, all the audio is embedded, so you can play the audio.
Unit 1.
I don't know if you can hear that, but
Amazing Ancient Egypt.
Anyway, if you can't hear it, trust me,
words.
the audio is there.
Write the correct word and listen.
So all the audio is embedded. Also, we have links to, if there's videos that are included in the book, those are included in the ebook as well. I'm not going to show you that now. So those are some of the different features. You can also zoom in to different parts of the page to focus on activities or on reading passages. And as I mentioned, all the downloads are listed here for easy reference. And you can download all the MP3 tracks as well. You can also stream the audio. And you can go to specific pages, so it's all navigation. There's all navigation built into it as well. So it's a very good tool for presenting material in class or for remote teaching. So let me show you the LMS. So in the LMS, you can manage your classes. You can create classes. And once you've created a class, you can see reports on the students and on the homework. So for example, I can go here and I can see how many students are in my class. I can see all the different homework that I've assigned and how many students it's been assigned to and when it's going to be completed. And by clicking on each of those individual lessons, I can go and see a report about how students have done. My students are very bad. Nobody's done their homework. But you can see who's done it and how they've done as well, so you can see the performance. So I'll show you that a little bit later. So if I wanted to add some homework, let's do that now, and then I'll show you in the when I show you Big Box, the demonstration of Big Box, I'll show you where that shows up. So if I assign homework to my students, I could go like this. So let's say I'm teaching this book, and I want to assign maybe Unit 5 for my students to preview before class so they can learn the vocabulary and they can learn some of the key structures. So I could assign it here. So I just give it a name, save it, and then it's automatically distributed to all my students in their Big Box app. So we're going to see that later. So just remember, Reading Future 1, Unit 5, I assigned that. So the other part that I wanted to show you was the program section. So if you want to see recommendations for a grade level, you can do that by selecting the grade. And then we can make recommendations about course books and also skill books that could go with that. So those are, for example, if I'm teaching Hangout 2, then maybe I want to build very basic writing skills at that level. So there's a writing book that you could teach alongside that as a companion course, or for building reading skills, for basic grammar, or for vocabulary building. So there's all skills. We've got a wide range of skill books. And then, as I mentioned before, there's a library of content that you can watch for professional development as well. So those are going to be added over time, and right now there's about 4 that we've included, but soon there's going to be many more. So that's a little bit about ClassBox. Maybe I'll switch back to my presentation. Okay. So the last part of my presentation is all about Big Box. So Big Box is our learning application. So it's an English learning application, and it's aimed at younger learners. And it includes content that's personalized to suit their interests and their abilities. And it includes all kinds of components that make language learning gamified. It makes it more game-like instead of serious learning. It's more like playing a game. So this can be a good companion for a classroom learning environment, because students are going to be motivated to do it outside of class on their own. So it includes content curation. So just like Netflix or YouTube, our system learns about the students. It learns their interests and their age and their gender, and it makes recommendations for them based on that. So we have a library of more than 11,000 videos and playbooks. Playbooks are just readers that automatically play, and there's audio in the background. And so we can make recommendations based on the child's age and interest and learning patterns. And we also get constant feedback from the student in the app, so we can adjust our algorithm to better suit their ability and their learning style. So when they first register when they first install the app, and the first time they open the app, they're going to input their age, so the year of their birth, and then whether they're a boy or a girl, and then they're presented with some different icons where they can select what their interests are. Usually they can select 3 or 4 interests, and then using that information, that's sort of the starting point for our algorithm to choose material from our library to recommend to them, things that we can kind of guess they might be interested in. But then as they select things from the library, and they say whether they like it or they don't like it, we can kind of fine-tune our algorithm. So it's just like Netflix for learning English. So they're going to see something like this. So after they input their age, their gender, their interests, they're going to see a selection of videos and playbooks that have been chosen for them. And after they watch it, they can click on the like button. They're also going to be presented with a rating for the difficulty level and whether they like it at the end of the video or the book. So after they watch that content, after they've watched a video or they've read a playbook, they're going to be presented with at-level words that are taken from that content. And so they're going to see a series of word cards. And what the game of one of the games in this app is for them to collect those cards. And in order to get the card, to claim the card, they have to actually say it correctly. There's voice recognition software built into the app, and so they click on the microphone icon and they can say it correctly, and then they get that card, and that becomes part of their collection, and they can use that in games throughout the app. So they collect cards and they level them up by playing games in the app. So it goes from level C, B, A, S, SS. This is kind of the different levels for the cards. And so the goal of the app overall is for them to learn 3,000 words, kind of the core, 3,000 most frequent and most important words in the English language. And all of those word cards have audio for them to hear the word pronounced, and also they have an illustration to show them the meaning of the word. After they've watched the videos and playbooks, they've got a few play cards, word cards. Then they go to the next stage of the app, which is playing the game show. So they enter a game show after they've learned some words, and they compete in 4 rounds against some AI players. And if they win, they get some points, and they can use those points to customize their avatar in the game. So they can add silly hair, silly glasses. They can change the eyes or different things about their avatar, the costume. So this is how we've kind of gamified it for young learners. So we don't want them to only learn words in isolation. We also want them to be able to contextualize those words within expressions. So after they've learned a few words, we cross-reference that with our list of expressions, and they're exposed to expressions that include some of the words that they've learned. So they see them in a new context. So they're using those expressions to solve some puzzles, to chase down this monster in the app called the word thief. So the word thief in the app, he steals words, and in order to get him, they have to learn expressions and use those expressions to chase him across the miracle river, the fantasy forest, and into the magical cave, and then they can get the words back from the word thief. So there's lots of different kinds of activities that they use, like unscramble and say. So actually there's also voice recognition software built into this part of the app as well. So they're speaking whole words, whole expressions. Another part of Big Box is reading oceans. I'm going to show you that in the live demo, but basically it's a library of around 1,000 graded ebook readers from different publishers, including Compass Publishing. And it includes a wide range of both fiction and nonfiction books on a wide range of high-interest topics, all the way from phonics decodable books, very low-level books, all the way up to upper intermediate. So longer readers with a more complex story, complex characters. They all have embedded audio, and they include activities after the book, after they've read the book. There's things like word flash, word match. There's a content reading comprehension quiz. There's unscramble activity focusing on the key structures, some key structures in from the book. And then they have listen and repeat activity. So the good thing is it can be streamed to any device, so students can watch it on their phone, their tablet, their PC. And the last component is Class Booster. So what is Class Booster? You saw me in ClassBox giving some homework, assigning some homework to students. So if students are learning with you, they're learning a particular book, either a course book or a skill book, this is where they're going to get their homework. This is where they're going to be able to preview content, review content. So this is also where the homework is going to show up. So it includes e-learning activities for all of our course books and skill books. And it's linked with ClassBox, as I showed you before, for assignment of homework and reporting. And you can use it for flipped learning, so the students can learn everything before class, and then they can come to class all prepared for the communication part of the class. Or you can use it to just for simple preview, like previewing vocabulary, or also for reviewing content. So instead of homework, as I mentioned, the students receive a quest in their app. They're given a notification, oh, you have a new quest that you have to complete in order to get some points. And they receive coins that they can use in the game. So when they do their homework, they get those coins that they can use to customize their avatar. So what we've tried to do with this app is really gamify homework. We know students don't like to do homework. Who likes to do homework? But by gamifying it, by making it game-like, then it makes it a little more enjoyable, something that the students might actually want to do. So some of the activities are things like word match, where they see vocabulary and the pictures, and they have to match them with some time pressure. And there's unscramble activity. Unscramble activity, they can either click on the expressions or they can actually say the different parts of the sentence to put them in order. So we also have voice recognition there. Then there's comprehension questions about any of the readings or listening passages. And then there's a summary activity where they can click and drag the keywords into the summary. Okay, so we have a library of content, both videos and playbooks. We have a quiz show and expression forest where students can play games to learn words and expressions. We have Reading Oceans, which is our playbook library. And then we have Class Booster, where they can get their homework and preview and review material from their courses. So these are all the different features in ClassBox. And I guess now I'll go to, if you want to install the app on your own device in order to play around with it and try it out, you can either go to Google Play or the App Store and search for Big Box, or you can just scan the QR code right now with your phone, and it'll take you right there. And I'm going to launch the app to show you a live demo. Just give me a moment. Okay. So when students open the app, they're going to have different avatars. So they can set up actually different avatars for if they want to do different characters, or if you have multiple students playing on the same app. So here's mine. So here's a notification. I got a notification, and what do you see in the notification? Here's Reading Future Develop 1, Unit 5. This is the homework that I assigned just before when I was showing you ClassBox. So I'll show you later how they do their homework. So as I mentioned, there's a video library. So there's Big Box TV, which is a series of, series So if there's a character that students really like, or if there's a particular series of content, but that's all organized here. There's also the carousels of content that they can see like this, so they can scroll through the content and choose things that they want to watch. They can also favorite things, and those will show up in their likes like this. So I'll show you the game show. So once they have collected some word cards from watching some content, then they can go into the game show and they can play against these other AI players. And there's 3 rounds. There's like an OX game, which is true or false. So it gives them 2 cards, and then they match. If they match, they press O, and if they don't match, they press X.
Face.
So obviously this one doesn't match. So they go through 3 rounds like that with 3 different games, and then at the end, if they're the winner,
Water.
they get coins and points. I lost my points, sorry. There's also the expression forest, where they learn an expression and then they go through
I'll teach you some new magic.
They go through that 3
Listen
different,
to the spell.
again, 3 different steps.
How is it? It is good. How is it?
So this is where the student would learn the expression. So they would like repeat the expression using the speech recognition.
Well, let's try again.
Just running a little bit short on time, so I wanted to show you some other parts. Maybe I'll focus on Reading Oceans and Class Booster. So Reading Oceans, as I mentioned, it's a set of readers from different publishers, also from Compass Publishing. So I'll just show you an example. They're all organized according to level. So for example, here's one from Sunshine Readers. So they're going to have the playbook, and they're also going to have some activities that are connected with the playbook. So the playbook runs like this. So just like we saw with the ebook reader in ClassBox, it's going to play the book, and it's going to turn the page, and there's going to be synchronized audio that kind of reads the book for them as well. So as I mentioned, there's about 1,000 different books. So after they read it, they're going to see some games that they play to learn the words. So they learn the words first.
Onion.
And again, there's voice recognition, so they can repeat after the audio.
Delicious.
Meat. Pour.
There's word flash, and then there's word match. Word match is this kind of game where they're given the vocabulary and pictures, and they have to match them. I hope I get a good score. Hold on.
Meat.
Oh, I'm doing terrible.
Onion.
Food.
Bread.
Pour. Taste.
There we go.
Delicious.
23 seconds. Not my record. So as you can see, they get rated on their performance as well. Then there's quiz.
The
So in
traveler
this
said
case,
to the
it's
farmer,
reading
"I
comprehension.
am."
So they remember key
He put the pot.
structures or key information from the story.
The water was hot.
And then there's an unscramble activity as well. So again, they can say the input, or they can also just click on the words. There is no food in this house. So these are kind of key
no
expressions from the story. So that's a little bit about Reading Oceans. The last one is about Class Booster. So Class Booster, if they go to the Class Booster section of the app, this is the course that I'm taking as a student. So I can go in here and I can see all the units that I've done and how much I've done on each of them. So I just started this book, but I was given some homework by my teacher. So let's go and do that homework. So the homework was this unit.
Creature.
So I'm going to see the words first. Creature,
Unusual.
unusual,
Tusk.
tusk, tooth,
Hunt.
hunt,
Whisker.
whisker. And I got 22 seconds. So I'm going to get this gold reward because I did my homework. So 3 gold. So I can collect that gold, and over time, as I collect more and more, I can use that for buying things for my avatar. So as I mentioned, there's word flash, word match, which we've already seen. So there's some time pressure to match the words. So creature, tusk, tusk,
Tusk.
tooth, hunt,
Tooth.
whisker.
Hunt. Whisker.
Unusual.
Unusual.
That's better. 10 seconds. And I can get my gold. There's also quiz and unscramble. We've already seen those. This is the summary activity. I'll just show you this one. Narwhals, so this is based on the reading that we did in the unit. So we are going to click and drag the keywords that we learned from the vocabulary. We're going to click and drag them into the summary. Narwhals are interesting creatures. They have an unusual looking tooth, tusk. Actually, a narwhal tusk is a tooth. Blah, 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 blah. Many people thought narwhals used the tusk to hunt, but it is not true. Some scientists believe their tusks are used to sense things, like the way a cat uses its whiskers. I did pretty well. I hope so. I wrote that. I wrote that passage. Okay, so again, I can get the coins for doing my homework. So after I've got all my coins from doing my homework, I can go into the shop and I can buy things to customize my avatar. I can buy different hair, different glasses, like this. Unfortunately, I only have 37 coins, so I can't afford anything. I have to do more homework, more in the app. Anyway, that's a little bit about Big Box. So we talked about our Hangout series. We talked about teaching young learners. We talked about our Hangout series, and then we talked about our new digital products. So Class Box and Big Box. So I'm going to open it up to any questions. Does anybody have any questions? There's a bit of a lag, so I have to wait. Victor asked, how can we get Big Box? So you can go to the Play Store, Google Play Store, or Apple App Store on your device and search for Big Box, and it'll come up there. Or there was an QR code that I shared earlier. You can watch the video after and scan the QR code. There is going to be a Big Box PC version that's going to be coming out very soon. Actually, that's what I was showing you today. That's not released to the public yet, but it's going to be released soon. Right now, it's just in beta. How many books are there in Big Box? There are, in Class Booster, there's about 1,000. There's about 1,000 readers. There's also all of the course books that are in, all the course books that are in ClassBox that I showed you, they are also in Class Booster in the big box. Is the content in big box different from the one in the book? Yes, there are some different activities. So all the words, the vocabulary is the same, but it's presented with different kinds of activities like the word matching, and the comprehension questions are different, and also the summary questions. In some series they're taken from the book, but in some they're not. I've got quite a few. Are the activities of Big Box correlated to the course books students are using? Yes, yes they are. So if you're studying, for example, I used Reading Future, and if I'm studying with that in my class, I can use those activities and assign homework in Big Box. Maybe Jose is wondering about the activities from the video, like watching videos and playbooks. That's separate. That's all extensive content. Can we use Big Box on PC? It's coming soon. PC version is coming soon. I'm going to, I'm being told that there's another seminar coming up soon. It's coming up, the second session is coming up soon, so don't go away. Take a break, get something to drink, and we'll be back with another seminar very soon. If you have any other questions, I'll have a look at the comment section and I'll answer them there. Anyway, thanks very much everybody for your attention, and I hope you enjoyed the seminar, and I hope you have a good Compass Day. Thank you very much.
Compass Publishing.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Eric and I will be the presenter for the next part. Let's start off. Wow, I'm very shiny today. Wow, okay. Let's start off just in the comments, say hello. I'll wait a little bit before I get started with this one. So who do we have in there, guys? Just say hello. You can say where you're from. Hi, Eric, Victor. Nice to see you. Actually, today I came up to Seoul to come and shoot this live seminar, and I woke up at 4:30 and I took the bus and I got here. So I'm very excited to actually do it from here. Yun Guan, hi, Louise, Violetta, CDMX, who's that? Okay. Tijuana. Okay, so that's Mexico. Hello everyone. Yeah, so the topic for today is actually teaching with Zoom. I'm going to give a couple of minutes just to warm up and wait for some more viewers to start. Originally, I would have started at around 11, but because you are all here, I decided to come up and talk a little bit with you. Okay, let's see. More people from Mexico and Dominican Republic. Hello, everyone. How do you say it? Hola? I'm not sure, but it's so nice to meet all of you. So today I'm just going to talk about how to teach in Zoom. It's going to be very interesting. Sorry for this hair. Actually, I was waxing my hair today, and I noticed, I think this is the same hairstyle I had when I was a teenager. So blast from the past. Okay, Chile too. Wow, so many people from South America. Guys, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for joining. Well, it's kind of hot under these lights, but I think we'll have a good time. Okay, so back to today's lesson. I'm going to be talking about online teaching in general because I feel right about now, because of this global crisis, a lot of teachers are being forced to move online. And many of us aren't prepared. We're not ready. And some also have a very negative mindset about online teaching. So what I would like to do is, first, I would like to talk about these ideas about online teaching. And I'll show you some structure. Actually, I'm going to show you the structure I use in my online teaching. Because, I think as teachers, we often wall ourselves up and we don't share our ideas. We kind of, Soy, hi Soy, nice to see you. As teachers, we close ourselves off in our classroom because we're embarrassed or shy to reach out for help and we don't want people to see what we do. But actually now with online teaching, more than ever, we're actually supposed to reach out and help other teachers. It's vitally important to do that. Because, right now, we are being forced to move online. Is that a punishment? I see it as an absolute opportunity for teachers right now. Denaldi. Yeah, guys, so I'm going to do my speeches. I'm going to talk a little bit. And every time you send in messages, I'm going to read it and interact with you. So if you want to say anything, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments and I'll look down and help you a little bit. Let me just, wait, it's this way. Okay. Better? Better. Yeah, so like I said, I think, we are the first generation to actually move to online teaching, and we shouldn't be afraid of it. I think a lot of us are motivated, or we're afraid of new things, and we shouldn't let fear guide us. It is up to us to start learning how to do online, learn activities, learn strategies, and then use that for the generations to come, because what we do now will echo into eternity. I think that's a quote by someone. Can someone check for me who's that quote from, echo into eternity? Zoom is safe, let's keep it safer when we use it. Okay, yeah, guys, I think if you go onto the internet, this is all about teaching with Zoom. It's the platform that I use. So I'm going to talk about teaching strategies. I'm going to talk about some ideas and techniques. And I'll also show you how I use Zoom. Let me sit a little bit closer. Yeah, I'm going to show you how I use Zoom because, like I said before, I think it's very important for us to share our ideas. Now, someone said that, Zoom is safe. And on the internet, if you go and look up Zoom, a lot of people say that Zoom is unsafe because they steal data. And we have to remember, this is a company that catered only to a couple of small businesses. And now suddenly, millions and millions of people have signed up and started using Zoom. Teachers, businesses, people to connect personally. Now suddenly they have to deal with all these new people joining, and they're working as fast as they can to have enough space and to also have better security. So we have to remember that. But just from my own experience using the Zoom platform, it's very easy, and if you send a link only to your classes, you can control who comes in and who goes out. So for me, it's a fantastic service. Yeah, echoes into eternity. Carolina, General Maximus. That's it. I think that's from Gladiator. Thank you, guys. I am Maximus Meridius. What does he say? Father to a murdered husband. Wait, no. Husband to a murdered wife. Father to a murdered son, and I will have my vengeance in this year or the next. Wow, that's fantastic. Thank you, guys. More Mexicans, guys. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah, I really enjoy meeting new people, and I think, I think it's about time. I want to get started because I actually have a lot of things I want to share with you, and I think let's go through it right now. Okay, is everybody ready? Can I switch over to my computer for the PPT? Okay, I'm going to open up. Okay, everyone, let's start with today's presentation by me. It's going to be a good one, I hope. And let's look at this. So this is the PowerPoint that we have. It says, teach with Zoom. It can be teaching with Zoom. My name is Eric Wesch, and I'm here for Compass Publishing. You can see, this guy is busy on the computer, just like most of us are these days when we're at home. Okay, now what you will learn in this seminar, in this talk. Actually, you know what? In my experience, let's first say who this is for. This presentation is for teachers who are resistant to using online teaching. Many teachers I have talked to are afraid of using online, and they come up with excuses why not to use it. So that's the first group, is a group of teachers that are afraid to use online teaching, or they're very resistant to it. The second group is a group of teachers that really want to learn about online teaching. So that is why you're watching the seminar, is to actually learn about it and use some of these techniques and ideas in your classroom. Now, most of you don't know me, but I believe it's very important. The way that I teach is I like to share practical advice. I don't like to talk or share things that I don't use. So I'm going to show you everything that I do, and I will explain why I use it. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, put them in. Every now and again, I'll look down and give some points. Yeah, so guys, let me ask you a question first. Have you been using online teaching? How long have you been teaching online? And also, tell me, what platform are you using? Are you using Zoom? A little bit about myself. A couple of months ago, I started looking into online teaching because we could see that, I saw that online teaching was growing, especially among English teachers. You would see these companies grow, and I thought, man, this is the future. This is the way to actually interact with our students in a simple way. So I started researching online teaching, and then with this whole crisis that we're in right now, I'm not going to say the word, actually a lot of teachers were forced to start teaching online. And like I said, many were resistant, and then others actually want to learn, and that's why you're here. I started using since the lockdown, using Zoom and Adform for presentations. Google Meet is another good one. Okay, yeah, 2 months Zoom. Yeah, Hun, I would say about the same with my classes. It's been 2. So, what will you learn in this seminar? I'm going to talk about why teaching online is important. I want to tell people, you know what? This is actually a fantastic opportunity to start using online to teach our students. Let me make it clear. Real life classes will never disappear. Students need us. However, online teaching is an exciting place where we can start interacting with our students in a different way, especially now that we need to do it remotely. Yeah, so online teaching is actually very important. I found that most teachers right now, if they have a choice, either they do online, but many I have spoken to record themselves and they send their students the video, and they just drown them with homework, and that is horrible. So today I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to give you tips and ideas. I'm going to talk about how you can prepare for class. I'm going to talk about lesson structure, how I structure my lessons. And once again, I want to reiterate that all teachers are different. Even if you and I, if we teach the same topic from the same book, we're going to have different ways of doing it, right? It's going to be 2 completely different classes. And even though the things I'm going to teach you are different, I want you to try and take some ideas, and at the end I will tell you what is there. Oh, by the way, there's my mom, Korean drama fan talk. That's my mom. Everyone, you can say hello to her. Hi, Mom. It's very early there. And then this is the part I'm really excited about, real life example. I'm going to show you a real life lesson. I've got some students, I'm going to call them into Zoom, I'm going to do a class right in front of you. It's going to be magic. And then the series I'm going to use is called the Hangout series from Compass Publishing. It's probably one of the best book series I've seen for elementary school up to middle school. Great series, and I'm going to be using that. Okay, is everyone ready? Let's jump into it. Okay, yeah, guys, now that we can connect with our students, this is Marlon. He says, now that we can connect with our students, teaching online is an excellent way, because with this we can work as a team with them. 100% true. You know, I think what a lot of teachers miss by not talking with their student is that they are missing engagement with their students. I mean, you send a student a video of 30 minutes, of an hour, and ask them to watch it and do an assignment. That is not teaching. Teaching is social. It's interaction between the teacher and the student, and the teacher facilitates the material and the knowledge. So we have to do that. Yeah, fantastic. I really like that. What was I about to say? Yeah, let's jump into it. Now, the first part is this. Who am I? That handsome young man is Eric Wesch. I'm a teacher. I've been teaching for 13 years. I've taught all different levels. Currently, I'm teaching in South Korea. I'm also a YouTuber. I've got a small YouTube channel called Etiquette, and it focuses on teaching, sharing tips, ideas, resources. And also every Sunday I have a live stream where I talk about teaching. Wow, Nelson says he's been using it for 7 months. Wow. Jose, you can tell I'm a good teacher. I don't know what it is. Must be the tie. Okay, and also I'm a Compass Publishing speaker. I've done a few talks for them, and hopefully if I do a good job, they'll invite me back. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Now, the course outline, what I'm going to be talking about today is, first, I'm going to be talking about mindset. Before we can start learning about something, we have to have the correct mindset. And I want to help teachers out there that are kind of resistant and, they're not interested in doing online teaching. I want to change their mindsets to show them that this is a great opportunity. So that is why I'm starting with mindset. Second, I'm going to show you how I prepare for my classes. Third, I will talk about the structure that I use because, you as Sam, hi Sam, good to see you. You as teachers like to have a structure. Even though we do different lessons and different classes, in our minds we have a certain structure of how our classes go. And I want to share my structure with you so that you know what my thought processes are. And then you can see it says here big, it says live class. I'm going to do something special. I'm going to do a live class for you, and I'm going to explain everything while I do the class. I want this to be the biggest part of the lecture, so I'm going to go quickly through the first 3 so I can get started with the live stream. Okay, Eric, what is the name of your channel? It's Etiquette. So educate backwards. Okay, yeah, guys, you can check me out there. And from Nigeria, nice to see you. It must be very early in Nigeria. 4 or 5 o'clock? 3, I think. But it's in the AMs. Jessica, right? Oh, wait, no, who? Sei. From Nigeria, in Africa, it's very early, so thank you for joining. Guys, what's the time in Mexico? Right here in Korea, it's almost 11 a.m. And I'm very interested to hear what... It's 10 to 11 p.m. right, so it's just switched. Okay, so it's night at you. Okay, is everyone ready? Everyone ready? Let's get started. If you don't do online teaching, you are failing as an educator. I know these are strong words, but I 100% believe them. Guys, if you have a chance to interact with your students live, through video, and you choose not to, you are failing them. And I know I'm saying this with a serious face because I really wanted to hit you. Okay, now, first lesson. I told you that we're going to start talking about mindset. And what I'll cover in this one is I'm going to talk about why some teachers resist online teaching, why some teachers should do, why all teachers should do online teaching, and I'm going to show you the real obstacles in people's way. Okay, now, why do some teachers resist online teaching? First off, I've spoken to many teachers and they say that online teaching has little to zero value. It's not valuable to talk with your students. It's better to videotape yourself and to send them the recording. Let them watch it because you can send other sources and you can just drown them in assignments. That is not teaching. That is lazy, and you should be interacting with your students. I mean it. I think, we cannot be afraid of doing it. Real life teaching will never disappear. We need that. But if you can do online teaching, if you can do real life teaching, online teaching is a close second because we can interact with our students, they can see our faces, they can hear our voices, we can instruct them, we can teach them, we can share our screen, we can put them into groups to work, we can chat with them. We are using everything available to us, but it is very valuable. That's what I want to say. Okay, so I'm not an expert. I see some people are talking about Google Meet. I know some people use Skype and all these other platforms. I'm not really good at them. I'm very good at Zoom. I was talking to a friend last night and I said, Christina, I'm kind of nervous about today. And she said, Eric, the only person that can replace you to do this talk is perhaps a Zoom employee. And then that person would need an education degree. And I was just like, yeah, I've spent a lot of time on Zoom. I can probably talk about this. Yeah, so guys, let's go into it. I see my face is still shiny. Sorry about that. Carol, Solange, Kahoot in groups. I've heard great things about Kahoot. And yeah, obviously, guys, you can use PowerPoints. You can share your screen with Zoom. I really enjoy it. Now, why do teachers resist? Little value. Many of them say, oh, Eric, I can't do video. I feel nervous being on video. What do you mean? You have to stand in front of a class. You have to talk to them. If you can stand in front of a class, you can stand on and talk through a window like this, right? Another thing, a lot of teachers say, oh, I don't understand the technology. When mobile phones came out, did anybody know how to use them? No, it's a new technology. So what did you do? When you got your first phone, when you were, I don't know, 10, when did you guys get your first phone? I think I got my first phone when I was 15. How old were you guys when you got your first mobile phone? Because when you got your first mobile phone, you didn't know how to use it. You started figuring it out. You started playing with the calculator. You started sending text messages. Annyeonghaseyo, nice to meet you. So you started sending text messages. If you had the Nokia 3310, you played Snake, right? You messed around with it until you understood it. And it's the exact same with teaching with a new platform. Start playing around. Get your friend on there. Chat to them. Try out all the functions. If you do that with Zoom, you will feel comfortable with it. You will be checking out your video settings, your audio quality. You will be learning all the buttons and the dashboard. But you have to play with it. Play Snake. Okay. Yeah, what did I say before? I remember my first iPad. I had to call my sister. Where's the Explorer? That's a great story. Exactly. Who's that? Carolina. Yeah, we just have to play with things. We cannot be afraid of it. And you know what? You are the teacher. You are the leader. Remember, your students aren't used to Zoom either. You're supposed to inspire them, teach them, and show them the way. Don't be afraid. Don't sit back and say, oh, I'll just record myself and send it to them. That is weak, and I don't want you to do that. Does everybody agree? Is everybody okay? Okay, now, one last thing about why people resist online teaching. They say it's because online teaching is temporary. It is not. Online teaching is here to stay, and now that people are using it, it's only going to grow. In the future, when you go to a school and you want a position, you know what one of the questions are going to be? Tell us about your online teaching strategy. Online teaching is here to stay. It won't replace real-life teaching, but it might add something to it, you know? So, yeah, to share video and audio with Zoom, yes, you can. So Jet asked, is it possible to share video and audio with Zoom? Yes, you can. I still feel there are some problems somewhere, sometimes, especially if you go from computer to phone. Nancy, hello. Okay, now, next one, positives. Why we should use it. Sorry, guys. I really enjoyed chatting with you. I hope you enjoy it too. Yeah, if my face is too red, just cover the screen for my face and then just listen to me talk about this. Okay, now the positives. What is good about using Zoom and online teaching? Students get you. Students have you in the classroom. You can ask them questions and you can give them immediate feedback. You can put them into groups. You can give them activities. You can explain grammar. You are there for them. They are not looking at a screen. They are actually, it allows you to engage with them and you can form a relationship, because 100 studies have shown us that if a teacher forms a relationship with a student, they are going to perform better. You know this. Students do better than just looking at a screen. Yeah, next one, social. You know what's so sad? I've spoken to all my students and I really like my classes. I have such a good time. You know why? Because most of my classes, these students have been away from their friends and people for months. and they are starving for social interaction. If you do online teaching, you're going to be connecting them, even if they're just talking, even if they just see someone else. It's new people they are being social with. It is so good. My son's 18 started using emails to send. What a beautiful story. Iris, guys, did you read that? So Iris says, 22 years ago, my son's 80-year-old grandma started using emails to send it to her firstborn, to her great-grandson. You see? So she knew the value in connecting with her great-grandson in a different way. It reminds me of this video that I saw of like Granddad. I think they were promoting some language app, and he was starting to learn English, and he put post-its everywhere. And then he went on a trip a couple of months later, and he met his great-grandson. And that's exactly it. Okay, now, what's next? Oh, yeah. So here's a very important thing. So a lot of teachers tell me that if you can send students video, you can give them assignments. But you know what I found the most valuable about online teaching? When I ask the students questions, and when they answer, they are bound to make mistakes. And I can immediately correct them, and I can help them, right? Also, if you have a group of students and they hear that mistake, they will actually fix it themselves. But now what you've got is, if you just send individual videos to every student and get individual feedback or videos back, you can only help that one student. Or you have to fix every single student's mistakes, where here you can just say it once, twice, 3 times. Portillo, you're not late, you are early. Or you're right on time. We still need to get to the important part. What else? New skills, you're going to learn new skills. No time wasting. You know what's very interesting is with online teaching, you're basically forced, because you're basically forced to manage your time a little bit differently than you would in a classroom. Yeah, you still have to organize everything, but you have to take into account how they're going to use the technology. So I found that a little bit different. Okay, now, what did I say? Sorry, no, I want to show this. Obstacles. What obstacles are there? Guys, let me ask you, if you do online teaching, what are you afraid of? What obstacles do you have in the classroom? Because I'm here talking and I can give a presentation about what I think is important, but maybe I missed something. So yeah, just quickly put in, what problems do you have with Zoom while I take a sip of my water? It's very hot in here. Maybe it's just me talking all the time. Okay, I prepare learners B2 FCE. What is that? B2 FCE? Students with no internet access. Well, you know what? Internet access, there's very little. You can't really online teach without internet access, and that's the main thing. I would say if you cannot use Zoom with a reliable connection, then you can either record the classes with the students who can and then send it to the students. That's possible. That's the only time I would actually do that. Technical problems may occur. They will occur, not may. And what I found is this is where you have to look after the herd. If you have 20 students and one student has an audio problem, don't stay and chat with that student for 1 minute, try and fix it. Leave them be and continue. They will figure it out on their own, or afterwards you can talk to them. Don't waste 5 minutes talking to 1 or 2 students with audio problems or mic problems. Quickly chat to them and then move on to the next one. Okay, anything else too? Carlos, you say it's hot in there too? Well, I actually like the heat. Record it and put it on YouTube? Definitely. Time limits. Louise, so the time limit for Zoom is 40 minutes. And I've trained my students. I tell my students, hey guys, in 5 minutes we are going to actually, restart the class. I copy the link, I send it to them, everybody comes back up. Okay, so Anna says, I'm concerned about the students who do not actually want to Zoom. I mean, this worldwide situation has forced us to face new challenges, but there are some kids who don't want to participate. This is going to be a problem, but I think it comes down to the teacher. You are supposed to motivate them. You're supposed to inspire them. Thank you very much. So they say I can take off my jackets. Yeah, let's try that out. I just don't want to be sweating, I've got a white shirt on. Okay, now this is the teacher's responsibility. It's your responsibility to motivate your students. By having fun, engaging classes, you're going to get them to do it. Now, you know, you can use video with Zoom. One of the things I actually use is I tell the students that when I have a big class, I say, students, you don't have to worry. Switch off your video. We only use audio. And it's worked like a charm. My only thing is, if I ask them a question, they have to answer. So, you know, just engage them constantly. Have fun activities where they have to work with other students. And if you do a good job, the students will like it. I mean, out of all my classes, I have had such a good time. Even with lower level classes, even with, you know, classes that would be problematic, I have had a great time because I believe in it and I want you to believe in it too. Okay, the things show them. Yeah, it's a fun class. I'm going to show you how I have fun in my class, and we'll continue. Other things I saw. Yeah, so actually this is one of the problems I wrote down here. I said audio problems, students are shy, students are bored. Now, what is important in your class, and in a normal class too, is to actually have a flow of energy. Especially when you start class, you're going to have a fun activity where they are engaged. Then you're going to have your lecture phase where you explain a certain topic, the vocabulary, the things they want to learn. And then you're going to move on to the final part where they also engage each other. Yeah, I'm going to continue. Belen, you made it. Belen is one of my viewers on Etiquette. It's so nice to see you, Belen. You're just in time. I'm only at the first lesson and I've been talking for 30 minutes, I think. So let me continue with the second one. Okay, but what I want to say, guys, your mindset as a teacher will actually show success with your students. Will determine your mindset as a teacher will determine the success of your students. Because if you are positive and you have fun with it, the students will pick up on it and they will trust you, just like they would in a normal class. So be the standard bearer, be the leader for that classroom and show them the way, because if you do, you'll have a fantastic time. I have a blind student who uses Braille in my classes, and because of that, I have oral evaluation. She speaks very well, yeah, you see, because we have to focus on these other strengths. And that's another thing. Guys, if you're teaching English, we have speaking classes at my university, and most of these professors, basically, or not most of them, some of them send video or audio recordings, or they even sometimes just send a page and they ask the students to send video back. That is not speaking, that is not interacting with someone. In my classes, I like to push the students to have conversations, to be in groups, and you're going to see that in class. Actually, it's going to be very interesting. Stay tuned. Okay, Karina has a question. Somebody for Zoom is a level suited to use this technology. I would say, you know, if they're able, even if they're young, I would say 6, even from 6 on, you know, they're just basically there to use it. And kids these days, they learn how to use computers very quickly. Actually, I was watching a presentation a couple of days ago on Zoom, and the guy spent 20 minutes talking about what level kids should be to use Zoom. Kids from 5, 6, 7 on are able to use the computer, and that is the minimum amount of skill that you need. And I'm not going to talk about it for 20 minutes. Let's get to the important stuff. Okay, yeah, so I wrote down my notes here so I can be prepared. Now, how do you prepare for class? How do I prepare for class? The most important thing is ease of access. You want to make it easy for the students. Don't get the students to try different platforms and different technologies. Use the least amount as possible. Now, let me tell you what I do in my classes. I have basically 2 things I use for my classes. I use Zoom, and then I have a messaging app on my phone that I talk and communicate with my students with. The messaging app is, in Korea, it's called Kakao Talk. If you want to use WhatsApp or Line or any other messaging platform, that's important. So you've got Zoom, a platform to talk to them on, and you've got a messaging app. Why do I use Kakao Talk? Because I know if I send my students a message, in 5 minutes, 99% of them would receive it and they can reply. And they know if they want to ask me a question within 5 minutes, I'm going to be able to read it. So it's ease of access. Then, if I have my group, my Zoom group, an hour before the class starts, I send them. So first, I got all the students' numbers and on Kakao, and I put them into classes. And then, if I have an hour before the Zoom class, I send them a message, guys. Zoom class in 1 hour. Remember to prepare a photo, or remember to prepare those questions. So I remind them an hour before. Then, when the class starts, I send them a link, and we start class. Yeah, and so the students contact me, and obviously I also have LMS. LMS is actually just for evidence to show that I'm doing something, but it's so useful. You know what? If I prepare my students for classes every week, I'll talk a little bit about it in detail, but I would send them a question, or I'll quickly take a video. I'll take a video and send it to the group, and they know exactly what I'm talking about. I can go through the book. I can focus on grammar. I send them a short video. They watch it immediately. It's not some long, drawn out 30-minute video that they have to watch. It's engaging with your students. And now many of you might have concern. Yeah, you can use WhatsApp too. Many of you might say, well, Eric, you know, we're in a society where we want to be private. We don't want our teacher to be on Facebook, and we don't know, what kind of communication we can have. Listen, these kids have been using phones from the very first day they were born. They are better at using and communicating with protocol inside social media. But don't add your students on Facebook. Don't add them on Instagram. Don't add them on Twitter. That is their personal space. But add them on a messenger, because that's ease of access, and then have them on Zoom. You could have them completely on Zoom if you wanted to. Okay, I've spoken about that a lot. Sorry, guys. Do you have any comments? Do you have any questions? Sorry, I kind of went into a rant. Then I said here, first message. The first thing I send my students, I take a video and I introduce myself. I quickly go over the curriculum for the semester, and I tell them what I expect from them. Then I ask them to send me a self-introduction video of 1 minute. Why? Why do I want that? Do you guys know? Actually, so what I do is I send them a message and I say, send me a self-introduction video. I get the video and I save it into a file for that class. At the end of the semester, I'm going to ask them, hey guys, can you make another video for me and send it to me? And I'm going to compare the two. So the students can see when they started class with me, this was the level they are at. And then here, they can see how they have improved. What is the maximum participants in Zoom? That is 100 if you are on the free version, and 1,000 if you are on the paid version. So far my classes, I've had up to 30 people in a classroom, and I've been able to manage it. 20 students I've been able to manage well. And then my smallest classes, I've got some advanced classes, which are 6-7 students. So yeah, I think for classroom, even if you have up to 30, if you have your structure right, you can do that. Okay, then weekly updates. Like I said, in this classroom, you have to remember, online teaching is for activities. You don't want to be recording yourself for a very long time. So what I want you to do is I want you to prepare your students for class. Now, many teachers call this the flipped classroom method, where you let them do the homework first and then they come to class. And many people are against the flipped classroom, but actually just think of it as preparing your students for class. So in my classroom, I focus on speaking activities. I teach them a little bit, and then I give them more time to practice. So every week, every Saturday, I quickly record the book, the pages I want them to do, the vocabulary I want them to learn, so that when they come to class, I can ask them, oh, what does this word mean? Oh, what is this question? And they are prepared for class. Right, Teacher Erika, thanks for joining Dominican Republic. I think that's me. It's so nice to have you. Consultants and accessories. I'm not sure. My Spanish isn't very good. Hi everyone, if you have any questions, I see that it's 11:15. If you have any questions, just put them in the comments below if you want to share anything. I'm almost to the next part. The next one is practice with a friend. Same with you. Tell your students to practice with a partner. Let them practice with a partner before the first class. And then sharing is caring. What do I mean by sharing is caring? As with most teaching, you want to make it personal for the students. You want to make it personal. So whenever you are teaching something, I want you to come from a place of how can the student talk about their own experience? How can they share their ideas? How can they talk about it? Because when the student can use their personal experience to talk about things, they are much happier and they engage much better. So, and I say, some of my co-workers are just afraid of using it because they think the students will be making stickers of them. We just have to give it a try and hope they don't do that. You know what? Even if my students made stickers of them, what am I going to do? I've got this red face. I can't really change it, I think, you just got to think of it. If you are brave enough to stand in front of a classroom of 30 kids, online teaching is a breeze. A lot of people are afraid of the unknown and they make up excuses in their heads. They think, oh, this is a legitimate excuse. It is not. Get over your fear, start using it, and as soon as you start using it, you will see the value. And I think we have to tell that to our co-workers. I think that's very important to me too, because this is something I'm passionate about, and this is something that works. And a lot of people can say, show me the evidence. Pretty soon we'll have very good evidence of that. It's just because this is so brand new. But as a teacher with, oh sorry, I just tapped this. As a teacher with experience, I am comparing the results I'm seeing and the interactions I'm seeing online versus my experience, and I can tell you that it's worth it. Okay, hi Eric, I train learners mostly for Cambridge. Can you please share some of your insight on how to improve online teaching for developing this kind of certification skill? Well, I'm actually going to jump into more things. I'm actually going to do a live class for you so that you can see how I do this. It's going to be very special. We'll see how it works, but let's continue. So preparation, prepare for success, send your students the work they have to do before class so that when they come to class, they are ready to do the work. Also, sharing is caring. Remember to make it personal for your students. Okay, next one. This is the third one. I know I'm going a little bit slow, but it's because, you know what, I'm having so much fun talking to you guys about it. And yeah, I'm interested to hear your views and your tips on this too, because right now I'm going to talk about the structure I use in my classes. Oh, by the way, if I'm speaking too fast or too slow or I'm jumping around too much, I apologize. Just tell me, Eric, slower, and I'll do my best to slow down. There's nothing I can do about the shininess and the redness of my face, okay? So, except for that, I will try my best. Okay, use Gist or Discord, which are safer. Yeah, Discord, yeah, that's, Eric, can we keep our video on file after Zoom video finishes? Yes, Nicholas, that's a very good question. Actually, I did a video about it before, so I know everything about recording. So on Zoom, you've got the option to record your lesson. When you record it, all the other students or the participants will see that you are recording it. And once you stop the video, it will save that file. It will also save the audio file. What you can also do is you can auto-save your logs. If you send messages to everyone or you send messages to an individual person in private, your chat log will save that. Will save that too. But I want to tell you that, and a lot of people have been asking me this, Eric, how can I save the private chat between other people? You can't. That's impossible. You can only save the private chats that you receive and send and that everyone gets. So don't even think about trying to record other people's private conversations. That's why it's private. Okay, now back to this one. I'm going to talk about the structure I use in my classroom because I want to share what I do and I want you to give me your your feedback. What do you do in your class? Because, like I said before, we don't know a lot about online teaching. We are moving into a brand new era, and we are the teachers, we are the leaders that have to take this forward. So if we can start and we can create a foundation of knowledge and learning and practices for online teaching, it will be so much easier for the generations to come. Right, so I want you, and I'm already grateful to you because all of you guys that are here watching my shiny face speak, you're trying to better yourselves as teachers, and I can really appreciate that. So, yeah, guys, hand clap for you. Good job. Now, let me show you what I do in my class. First off, I start with greetings. So let's say I send the students, I send them a link, I open up the class. You've got a waiting list where the students have to wait for you to actually add them to the meeting. You can switch that on or off. I keep mine on so that I'm in control. Then, once the students come and they pop in, I start engaging them. I start asking them questions. Hi, how are you? How was your week? Anything special happen? Why? 3 reasons. Number 1, I'm engaging the student. I'm showing them to talk. I'm asking them questions so that they know in Eric's classroom, I have to answer questions and they will start getting used to it and it's fun too. Number 2, I am checking that their sound is working. If I ask them a question and they don't respond immediately, I know something's wrong and I can tell them, please fix your sound or a little bit louder. So, number 2, I'm checking their sound. Number 3, I am checking roll call, attendance. So, I'm actually checking that they're there. So, greet your students as they come in. Say hi. Then, next, warm up. Warm up, what I like to do, and this is fantastic. I told you before that you have to make things personal. What I do with my students is I ask them to bring a photo. So I ask them, bring a photo of your favorite food. Bring a photo of you outside, especially if you teach students. They are always taking photos of their lives for Instagram. So if you tell the students, hey, I want a photo of something you did this week, they will take a photo. And then when class starts, I put them into groups and they ask each other, they explain their photo. Oh, this is me taking a walk with my best friend. This is me at a cafe. And then their friends can ask them questions. Oh, why? What did you have to drink? Who is your friend? How do they know them? So you are actually starting with a nice warm-up. You can do that, or you can use a book. Like, for example, I'm going to use Hangout, and I'm going to do a warm-up from there. Then, lecture. Lecture is where I'm going to share the screen. I'm going to explain the book, especially if you have an English book that is online. You just share your screen and you explain and you can write on it. Students, you can also use a whiteboard to explain some grammar points that you share with the students. It's really fun. Practice, so I teach them and then practice. I give them an activity, either a group activity, but usually with a partner where they have to practice some expressions. I think a lot of people know the benefits of Zoom these days, and ClassBox works great with Zoom. Yeah, ClassBox is amazing. I'm going to show ClassBox. ClassBox is basically where we've got a lot of books that you can choose from, and it's interactive, it's got music, it's got visuals. Really good tool. Feedback. At the end of class, I actually let the students present a little bit to give them feedback. And then we finish in a fun way. And that's it, guys. I want to say, when you collaborate with your students, you want them to socialize. You want to use group activities, and you want to focus on speaking. You can do it with a partner. And, you know, what did I want to say? Oh, yeah. The other day, a professor told me, Eric, I'm using discussions on LMS. Are you kidding? You're saying, and he says, oh, it works so well. Discussions? People going onto Google and using Google Translate to send messages? That is not real life, guys. We have to use video because you can talk with the students. And it doesn't need to be video. In my smaller classes, I like video. But in my larger classes, I say, guys, put it off. But when I ask you a question, I want your response, and it's been great. It's been fantastic. Next one, activities. Now, This is probably the reason that most of you came to me. You want some ideas. You are already doing class, and you just want some ideas for things to use in class. Now, I think what's very important is, have fun. So, for example, when we do a warm-up, and I want to pick a few students, I open up the whiteboard and I say, okay, everybody write your name. The last person to write their name has to present. Or you can say, everybody send me a message, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What number do you want to present? And you'll get all these messages. So yeah, engage the students. Use everything you've got. And another thing with young learners, let them be active. Use charades. Use Simon Says. Say, okay, everybody, I want you to touch the right side of the screen. Okay, everybody, turn left, turn right, stand up, touch your nose, do actions. You can do charades where you type a message to a student and you say, okay, act this out, and the other students have to guess. And they can do like fishing, or you can do running, and they have to act it out. Because a lot of these kids, they're just sitting in front of their chairs or they're lying down. Get them active, get them to enjoy it. Another thing you can do is scavenger hunts. Tell the students, okay, everyone, find me something red. Yeah, TPR, John, thank you so much. Yeah, tell the students, find me something red. And they start looking around and they grab something red. You'll see them run into the other room. Find something round. Find your favorite thing. Let them do show and tell. Ask them, okay, everyone, we're going to start with video. I want you to have your favorite object and I want you to talk about it. Guys, these are old school ideas that we can use in online teaching. You can ask them, a really good one I learned the other day is to do a yoga pose. See who can hold the yoga pose the longest, especially if you're into that. So they stand further away from the camera and they do a yoga pose. If they fall over, they lose. Guys, engage the students. Get them to use things. They can do Pictionary, charades, all these great ideas. You are only limited by your creativity and your imagination. Okay, I think we are ready. Putting my book away. Okay, are you guys ready for this? This is the magic part. I'm going to do a live lesson. I'm going to do a live lesson with a couple of students I have already asked over. And I haven't prepared a lesson. I haven't. That's where you come in. I haven't prepared a lesson, so I want you to tell me which book to use and what unit to use. So this is the first time I'm going to see a lesson. You're going to be in here. Robert, how do you deal with online classes in large groups? Robert, you're going to want to break them off into smaller groups, and when they come back, let one student from each group give feedback, or choose random students to give feedback. That's the best thing. And the great thing about Zoom is you can join each group to talk about it. So large groups, just remember, guys, I want to be in your classes. Be patient, be clear. Because there's a lot of, even if you have students in class, a lot of times they don't understand your directions or what you want to do. And I think rather be very clear on what you want, and also scaffold it. So give them questions, give them extra things to work on. But be clear, and what was the other thing I said? Oh, be patient. Yeah, Eric, what level age are your students? Right now, my students are basically university students, but I've taught as young as 10-year-olds with Zoom, just practicing to get this right, because I was learning to try and do something good. Guys, if you have any questions, put it in below. Now, I've got 4 students. I asked them to be ready. I'm going to send them a message, but I told you that I'm using something different. Let me see, where is it? Okay. Can I quickly show my screen? Can I show my screen? Not this screen, my computer screen. Is it possible to show my computer screen? Because I want to use Zoom. Okay, guys, I'm just quickly setting up. I just want to share my screen with you guys. So actually, in Hangout series, I'm going to talk about the Hangout series. There are I think Hangout, there are basically 7 or 8 books. There are 7 or 8 books. I'm going to let you choose what book I use. So you can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. Take that book and I will show you. Jose is already early, 7. But I haven't started yet, Jose. You're too quick. You're too smart. Basically, it's like a magic show where the magician asks the audience to pick things because I haven't prepared. So I have to show you a lesson immediately. John also says 7. Why is everybody so obsessed with 7? Well, 7, I guess everybody has spoken. Let me look. It's got, so it's got starter, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, so it goes up to 6, everyone. 6 is the highest you get, and starter is the lowest. So starter, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I want everyone to choose one letter, and I will randomly choose the person. Or let's do it this way. Everybody vote. The book with the most votes win. Okay, you can choose 2 books, only 1 lesson, not 1 and 3. Okay. Okay, we've got 7. Flora 7, Monica 7, Miyuki says 3, Jose is still 7, Toy 5, and then Shirley 4. Guys, is it possible for me to share my screen? Because I need to use Zoom anyway. Is that it? Is that mine? Okay, there we go. Good. But I can't use my, I need my, when I do Zoom, I'm going to, oh, okay. So those are the books. Can you scroll down a little bit? I don't know, can the mouse reach here? The mouse? Can I quickly borrow it? Yeah, thank you. Okay, guys, yeah, just, yeah, there we go. Okay, so here we go. It's a different one. Oh, that was mine. Okay, let me see. Sorry, guys, I'm just learning here. Okay, no. It's because it's a little bit delayed, I see. Okay, yeah, so this is Hangout series. It's a really fun series, very colorful. There's the starter one. There's 4, 5, so it goes up. And now we've got a lot of 7s, 7, 7. I guess I'm going with 7. Okay, let's open up 7. Sorry, it's a little bit delayed, so I'm just learning how to use this. 7, but there is no 7, so I guess you want the highest one, which is going to be 6. Is everybody happy with 6? I did not choose this. It's all of you that chose this one. Is 6 okay? How can you get preschool children to be involved? Like I said, engage their senses. Ask them to pick things in their room. Make it physical for them. Also, if you're working with very young students, have a puppet to talk to the puppet. Have toys to engage them. Ask them, what's your favorite toy? Show them small things. Be very colorful. Have a good background. Okay, so 6 is okay. Anna and Robert, I'm going with you guys. I'm going with 6. Okay. Did I click? Okay, it's opening up. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's I'm learning. Okay, and now let's look at the units. Now I want you to pick a unit, a table of content. Okay, so we have 9 units. Okay, now I need a unit number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so they are 7. Yeah, so yeah, Portillo, because with the starter there are 7. 6, 6, 6. You guys love your 6s and 7s. Sorry, starter, we're not doing starter, we're doing the last one, number 7, and everybody is saying 6. So, guys, this is the first time I'm going to look at 6, and this is the first time I'm going to teach it. So let's open up 6. I'm just going to make this big for myself. Is it big? Yeah, it's already big. Sorry, it's just starting now. It's small now. Okay, I need to see this to continue. While we are busy, I am quickly going to quickly invite my students. I'm quickly going to invite my students. So let me just close this. No, I'm going back there. Here we go. Yeah, this is better. Much better. Okay. Now, here we go. It's actually, and this is our title for today's lesson. I haven't prepared. I see that it has something to do with basketball. This is the vocabulary, and we can see here is something like that. Yeah, this is my first time using this. Let me just go. Usually I can do it. Why is it? Okay, that's that. And then we've got a story. Okay, so yeah, this is the more advanced book. I'm looking at this and I see they've got some kind of schedule here about something about last Sunday. And yeah, we've got some talking. And then finally, we've got another reading activity. Okay, now let's get started. So the topic right now is an exciting basketball game. Let me show you how to use Zoom. So when you use Zoom, you've got the option to start a meeting immediately, or you can set it up. As you can see, I've got all my things set up here. Let me just close there so you don't see it. But you can also use it, you can open it up through here. So I'm going to go new meeting. Can I show the screen? Here, this is what we look at. Actually, so my students won't be able to see me, but we will be, it cannot start video because usually you cannot start video at the same time. It's fine, I'll use it like this. Now, when you look at Zoom, let's quickly go through it. You get the mute button where you mute your audio. You get start video. You can also choose a virtual background if you have the right computer. Security is new. They brought this in. They brought in security a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. In security, you can lock the meeting. You have a waiting room. Waiting room is what I use. This allows the students to share screen, chat, and rename themselves. So, as added security, that's there. Now, we've got chat where you can send messages and files to people. So you can chat in a group to everyone or to individuals. This is fantastic. Share screen is probably one of the best things. You can share a whiteboard, you can share your screen, you can share a PPT. In this case, I'm going to share the book. Breakout rooms. You can put students into groups. You can do it automatically or manually. And you can also visit each room. And then you can put in reactions, hand clap, or a thumbnail. Okay, thumbs up. And here, now we're going to invite the students. Now, usually if you've got a scheduled meeting, they can join that. But I'm actually going to just copy the invitation. You can send them an email. If you have them on Zoom, you can do it there. Or you can copy the URL or invitation. I'm going to go copy invitation. And I'm going to quickly invite this group. So I told you before, I create a chat and a group, and I just sent them the invitation. Now they should start showing up. Yeah. Oh, what is this? To hear the students? Okay. Okay, this is for me to actually listen to the students. Will we be able to hear the students? Okay, so we're just waiting for the kids to start showing up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to quickly teach them. I'm going to start with a warm-up. I'm going to start with a warm-up, going to let them do it. We've got our first students here, so you can see here I go to admitter. And then she's joining. Hi, Lily. Oh, I can't hear you. How are you doing today? No, I don't think it's your problem, is it? I think it might be on my side. Can you hear me? Lily, can you hear me? So, because what's happening is because I'm streaming at the same time and I'm using Zoom like this. It's a little bit different. We've got Gina joining and Januk. Can you hear me though, Lily? So usually I would ask them, and Januk is joining. I would ask them, how are you doing? Because I can't talk, hi, I'll send a message quickly. If there's a problem, you know what, you do something else. You can just switch to something else. Hi, sorry, can't use audio well. Let me see. So I can mute, but I can't hear her. I wonder if they can hear each other. Let me ask them, guys, can you hear me? And can you hear each Other. Because unfortunately, so I can't hear them, they can hear me, but if they can hear each other, I can put them into a group and I can let them to start doing it. You can't hear her either? Yeah, me too. I can't hear her too. I should have shot it from my, usually I shoot from my own laptop, but today I'm using another computer with my laptop, so it's a little bit difficult. Oh, okay, so you can hear me, Lily can hear me, Gina can hear me, Junuk can hear me. Hello guys, and last student, Gyeongyeon, is also coming here. Now, what I would usually do is when they are here, I would say, hi Lily, how are you? How was your day? And I would say, Gina, how are you? I would listen to their audio and I would hear what they are saying. So you guys can hear me. They also said they can hear me, but they can't. But I can't hear them. Okay, Gyeongyeon, quickly send me a message. What did you do yesterday? Gyeongyeon, what did you do yesterday? I want you to send me a message. Gina, what did you have for dinner yesterday? Lily, I want you to put in chat, what is something special you did? Or what is something special you will do this weekend? Januk, tell me, what is your favorite, what's your hobby? Yeah, we can't hear the students' voices because it's out. So there's definitely something going on with the audio. So here, can I say here? It's okay, do you need this? Okay, he's quickly fixing it for us. Okay, unmute, is that okay? Okay, guys, can you say something? Lily, hi. Ah,
Hi.
I can hear you, finally. Okay.
You can hear me.
Yeah, you're back. Okay, everyone, we're back on. Lily, I asked you, what was my question to you? What's your plan for this weekend?
Me?
Yeah. What are you doing this weekend?
Oh, for this weekend, I'm going to meet my friends to study together for my assignments.
Yeah. What's your major? What will you study?
I'm going to study about hotel management, my school major.
Excellent. Gyeongyeon, how are you today?
I'm good because the weather is good.
Really? It's raining up here in Seoul. Gina, hi.
Really?
Yeah, it's raining. Gina, hi.
Hi.
Gina, did you do anything special this week? Anything interesting?
Yeah, I just I did something special this week.
Yeah, what did you do?
I can't say it because I'm too ashamed to say it.
Yeah, okay, well, we'll go from there. Juduk, Juduk, what about you? Anything interesting happening this week?
I bought a new instrument.
Oh, really? What kind of instrument? What instrument did you buy?
It's called kalimba.
Okay. Okay, guys, actually, our topic today, I'm going to share the screen with them so that they can see what we're talking about. I'm going to quickly share the screen with you. Can everybody see this?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we are going to be using this book for today, and the topic is an exciting basketball game. So, let's see. Lily, what do you see in this picture?
I can see students playing sports.
Yeah. Okay. And then, Gyeongyeon, what sports do you like?
I like badminton.
Badminton. Gina, at school, did you play some kind of sport?
Yeah, I played badminton too.
Ah, you two are two badminton players. And then, Junuk, what about you? What is your favorite sport to watch?
My favorite sport is soccer.
Soccer. Do you have a favorite team?
아틀레티코 마드리드.
Ah, okay, I see. Okay, everyone, what I want you to do is I will quickly put you with a partner. I will quickly put you with a partner. And I want you, now I'm going to a new share. I'm sharing the whiteboard. I want you to quickly write down something for me. I want you to ask what is their favorite sport? And I also want you to ask them, what is their favorite sporting memory? What is their favorite sporting memory? So, what is their favorite thing that they remember about sport? They play or a team they watch. I want you to quickly talk with your partner. I will give you maybe 3 minutes, and then I will come back to you. Okay, does everybody understand?
Yeah.
Okay, Kyungyeon, what do I want you to do?
We say these two questions in my partner.
Excellent, very good. Okay, is everyone ready? I'm going to put you into a breakout room with 2 students. You've got 3 minutes. And open, there you go. Okay, now everyone, what did I do there? The students will now go to their break rooms. That's where you put the students into different groups. What do? I ask them questions. Why? To engage them. I ask them follow-up questions, and the other students notice how I'm asking them questions. If they make mistakes with their grammar or something, I can fix it. Also, I'm checking their sound, if their sound works, and then finally, I'm also doing register if I'm doing register. Okay, what did you guys think? So usually I would do a warm-up, I would greet everyone, and then they would share they would show a photo, their favorite or something about them. Now I took the book, the Hangout book, I quickly let them look at it, and I created some easy questions. Now what I can do is I can join each group. Usually my video is on and their video is off. But now obviously my video is off because I'm using this. But when I go to the groups, I actually switch my video off. If you want to switch your video off, you go here to stop video. Why? Because when you suddenly pop into a group, it's very surprising. So let's quickly join this group. Takes a second, feels a little bit longer. So yeah, you can join the groups, check in on the students.
Yeah, I think that is my favorite. Is there something that you want to learn something new, like sports? I want to learn the other some activity things like taekwondo. I've never heard about it before. It is mixed with boxing and taekwondo, like many. What is the fighting sport? Fighting sport. Okay,
Right. We actually, so ladies, very good. We actually call it martial arts. Martial arts. Okay. Okay, ladies, quickly checked in. I think I'm going to stop the groups. Did you get a little bit of information?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to close the groups. The students have 60 seconds to come back. They'll usually come back immediately. I have to go a little bit quicker. I see time's running out. I've already been going more than an hour. Lily, Kyungyeon, waiting for the other two to come back. Yeah. So break rooms are very useful. Kyungyeon, Gina, Kyungyeon, tell me something interesting about Lily and sport. One thing.
Her favorite sport is folk dance, and her favorite memory was when she do the folk dance in the folk party.
Excellent. Okay, Gina, tell me something about Jinook.
Yes. His favorite sport is soccer, and his best memory was he won the game at the school.
That's fantastic. Okay, guys, I'm going a little bit fast because they say I need to finish soon. Now, I want to quickly just share the screen with you, and we'll look at the thing. So usually what I would do in class is I would quickly go through this. and we can read this together. Okay, let's look at the story. What can you see here, Lily? What does he look like?
It looks like dirty children.
Yeah, and Chinook, why do you think they are dirty? Why is he dirty, do you think? Because he... Why is he dirty? Because he... Who can help him? Who can help him? Kyungyeon? Because he...
I can help him.
Yeah?
Because he getting on board in the rain.
Right, maybe he was in rain, or Lily, what did he do? He was...
He stood up.
Yeah, what do you think he was doing? He was maybe playing soccer. Right. Okay, now, so we can go through it. Usually I let the students read these and we go through. We can read these together. Now, I really like this is where it perhaps, you know, at the end what I would do with them usually is I would look at this and I will ask them, okay, well, tell me about your schedule for the day. Let them quickly write it out and then share it with a partner. Okay, guys, usually I would, let me quickly stop there. Usually I would do one more activity. I really wanted to, but let me finish by, usually I would do a final activity and then, but I have to finish soon. Lily, you've had a few classes with me. I want to finish quickly. How do you feel about these online classes? What do you think about it?
I find online class has a lot of advantage and also disadvantage too.
Yeah, what are the advantages?
We can share our screen and it really feels like we are in the same place.
Yeah. Okay, let's ask. Sorry, I have to go on very quickly. Gina, what do you think about online classes?
I think it's really good because we can share our opinions and some questions quickly.
Yeah, I really like that students can actually share your photos, you know, when you're sharing your photos and sharing part of your lives. Junuk, how do you feel about online teaching?
I agree completely.
Yeah? Why do you like it? Because?
Sharing screen is
Very useful. So we can have the students share a screen and explain something. And lastly, Gyeongyeon, what do you like about online teaching? Or Lily actually said that there are some disadvantages. What is something bad about online teaching too? What do you think about online teaching?
It has many advantages.
Mm-hmm.
But a little bit uncomfortable is the video delay sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it's a little uncomfortable. But
it's good.
Yeah, I think for myself, I am so happy that I have you in class and that I can talk with you because, you know, we can create a relationship. And if I just send you video, it will be very boring. Guys, thank you so much for waiting and helping me. I want to use you more, but actually my time is running out a bit. Guys, I hope you have a fantastic weekend and I will see you next week. Thank you so much for helping. Bye, Lily, Gina.
Everything.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, Januk. Bye, Gyeongyeon.
Bye. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. Oop, I just cut them off. Okay, so see here the meeting, the notes were saved. Okay, guys, so actually I wanted to talk a lot more and I wanted to show many things, but it comes down to is when you start a meeting, there are so many tools that you can use. Breakout rooms to put them into groups, you can let the students share a screen so they can share photos of their own lives. They can chat. And a way that I like to pick students is I share the white screen and the students can write on it too. The only way you can use it is by playing around with it. Now, let's quickly finish. I think if you have any questions, quickly put it in. I know towards the end, I was just quickly trying to finish with that. What did you guys think? Is there anything special that you learned from this? For me, I just want to say thank you so much. I was busy talking and I could see you guys chatting back to me, so I really appreciate it. For everyone that tuned in to watch, guys, yeah, use online teaching. It's a great tool. In the future, we will talk a little bit more about Zoom. I think there are fantastic options to use. And I think if teachers change, if we change our mindsets towards online teaching, we can achieve great things, even during difficult times like these. Okay, yeah, convict, practice using groups. It's very useful. I wish I could do a longer Q&A. I think there are a lot of things I can still talk about. Marvilla, I hope you got the essentials. Yeah, everyone, thank you so much. I'm Eric, and this is for Compass Publishing. If you have any questions or anything, put it in the comments and we'll get to them. Everyone, have a good day, and I'll see you next time.